Welcome back, folks. We've got another ZVT today for this midday matchup. It's a beautiful, sunny, warm Wednesday afternoon in New York City. And we have our red Zerg spawning in the bottom left, Kevin Lee, going up against the Teal Terran, bbreeeeed. These guys played a best of 3 just yesterday, and Kevin was able to take that series 2-1. We'll see if today's games go any differently. Starting things off, both players opening pretty standard. bbreeeeed going for a barracks in the main base with a gas. Kevin going for a hatchery first, followed by a gas, and then pool. And this map is going to be 2,000 atmospheres. A pretty well balanced map. One of the nicer maps in the map pool, I would say. It's kind of underwater. There are these little fishies around the map, and sometimes you might even spot a shark. There are multiple paths, and there are some rocks that can be broken down to provide easier access around the map. It's usually a good idea to at least break down these rocks so the Terran can't siege up their tanks behind it. It's a very difficult location to break. bbreeeeed looks like he found an overlord with his initial marine, and he is most likely going to get that because there's not really anywhere that overlord can hide. Bit of a mistake here by Kevin to start things off. That overlord should have been on top of this thing, just to get away. But Kevin gonna be supply blocked right now. It's gonna hurt him just a little bit, but what is he doing behind this? He is getting his speed and he's continuing to mine gas. No Zerglings in production or anything. He did make a few, and they are actually doing a lot of work. 2 kills. Might get a third. And yep, gonna get that SCV also. So 3 kills from these two Zerglings. Pretty good pickoff. And that delays bbreeeeed's expansion. That delays this little supply depot down here. So a good bit of damage being done by those 2 Zerglings. Now Kevin is going for a layer. Pretty quick layer. He's getting his second gas, as well as number 3 and 4. But he is also getting a roach warren, so it's going to be some kind of roach ravager hydra composition, I'm guessing. And as that layer finishes, he should be starting the roach speed shortly. I said he should be starting that roach speed shortly. There we go. And no creep spread out of Kevin so far. Creep spread, very important as a Zerg, and I would say even more so with this unit composition. Only now does he drop that first tumor, But bbreeeeed, he is on his way. A handful of Marines, Hellions, and Widow Mines. See how much damage he'll be able to do. Kevin doesn't really have a whole lot of stuff. So, bbreeeeed, big window of opportunity right now before Kevin can really establish his army. As we see, Kevin has invested a lot into economy. Hasn't really been able to utilize that just yet. And bbreeeeed might be able to just capitalize right now. Moves in, gets 2 shots with the Widow Mines before losing them, and actually looks like bbreeeeed's falling back. I think that's a bit of a mistake. He could have done some pretty decent damage, I think. But now Kevin's 1-1 is completed. He's gotten his Hydralisk Den. He's going for Lurker Den as well. And we know bbreeeeed tends to struggle against those lurkers. bbreeeeed has backed up all the way home. Doesn't have a wall, but he is going for quite a few Widow Mines. And that would be very difficult for anything to engage. And still no 3rd command center out of our Terran player. He is only just now starting his +1 infantry weapons. So pretty significantly behind in all aspects currently. Kevin, he does have his 3rd base, but not mining anything just yet. And Kevin has done a much better job of spreading creep since I last called him out on it. So good job by him there. And now he's going for a hive. I do suspect that's most likely just for the lurker upgrades. Those 2 very important upgrades. Without them, lurkers are not that good. Looks like bbreeeeed posturing up for an attack once again. Got a good amount of Marines, some Marauders, Hellions that are transforming into Hellbats now. And Widow Mines, of course, for that splash damage. It's going to be very important for him to get those shots. And in they go. How is this going to turn out? I don't think Kevin really has enough right now. He needs to buy more time. And he might have to sacrifice this 3rd base. He does have 2 lurkers. He's going to burrow those. And that's going to help a lot. Does bbreeeeed even know they're there? Yeah, he does. He's going to scan, but doesn't really have anything to attack it, so a bit of a wasted scan there. And now bbreeeeed's gonna rotate on around, try to find another angle to engage, and he does. Kevin's gonna have to relocate his lurkers. Meanwhile, bbreeeeed getting a lot of good hits on his Widow Mines, doing some excellent damage. Not too many kills, but they have softened up a lot of these roaches. It's hard to see exactly what's under here, but Kevin now morphing in some Ravagers. bbreeeeed gonna be not really sure what he's doing right now. Kind of getting himself caught. Needs to get out of there. Eats a lot of shots unnecessarily, but he does back up. Covers his retreat with a few burrowed Widow Mines. And I think he could have gotten this base if he dove on it, but he did not. And Kevin is firmly in the lead right now. He has his 2 upgrades. bbreeeeed only sitting on +1, so that is quite significant. And of course the army complexity much better for Kevin with his lurkers. He is going for those upgrades I mentioned. Getting the adaptive talons first, and the seismic spines queued up behind it. I do think in most cases you would want the spines first, but not the end of the world either way. Kevin going for a little bit of a scout with this fast overlord. And he was able to spot most of the main base of bbreeeeed. Drops a few changelings as well. bbreeeeed was on top of killing those. And now bbreeeeed going for his third. Bit delayed. I would have liked to see that a few minutes earlier, but better late than never. And all things considered, bbreeeeed is not that far behind in the worker count. And of course, Terran has their mules, so income gonna be pretty even, actually. Kevin gonna be going for a Nidus network, and what vision does he have? He doesn't really have anything spotting right now, but of course he does have overseers and such, so maybe he can find a nice angle back here somewhere. Kevin also going for his fourth base, and his droning not the best, to be quite honest. And Kevin never really been the one to go for like 80-90 drones, but you really shouldn't be behind in workers in a ZVT. However, Kevin does have a lot else going for him. His army pretty fearsome. Roach, Ravager, Hydra, Lurker. His upgrades phenomenal, sitting at 2-2. I would like to see the 3-3 get started. He has had that hive for quite a while. And these Widow Mines still just chilling in the middle of the map. One of them did get a nice shot off and then got picked off. But bbreeeeed, his non-stop SCV production has put him pretty nicely in the lead in terms of workers, 63 to 51. But he is going to have to come up with an answer for this Zerg army. So far, looks like he's trying to go for Liberators, and Liberators can be very effective against Lurkers. Obviously, Lurkers can't shoot up. And ooh, Kevin going for a double Nidus Worm in the main right now. bbreeeeed doesn't spot this. He does have the vision, but not paying attention, and this is going to be huge. Kevin's going to flood out with his entire army, and this is going to be super bad. Sieges up the Liberators in range of the Hydras. Those are going to get picked off. And bbreeeeed, his base layout working against him currently. A lot of his units stuck. And he's kind of filtering into the Lurker fire. Drops a scan, but it's a little too late. There's so much Zerg in his main base. bbreeeeed supply drops down below 90. Meanwhile, Kevin's still sitting pretty at 163. He has a lot more money to spend as well. I think he's probably just short on larva. Only 7 larva. But GG does get called, and Kevin's going to take game number 1. Alrighty, we are loaded into game number 2 between these two players. Once again, it is our Zerg player, this time in the blue, kevinnleeeeee. And our Terran player this time in the red, it is bbreeeeed. So nice play out of Kevin last game with the Roach, Ravager, Hydra, Lurker, Nidus play. I do think bbreeeeed missed an opportunity with his initial attack, but of course hard to tell as a player whether or not he can really go for the fight, so can't blame him too much. He is gonna have to do a little bit better. I think he could have reacted better to the Nidus worms in his base. And in terms of army, it didn't look too bad. I think the Zerg army popping up in his base was just a little too much to handle. Game number 2, starting off much the same way as the first game. Gonna have to see if and when these players deviate. I do suspect Kevin is gonna go for either a Baneling attack or a Muta rush. I don't think he'll be doing lurkers twice in a row. That's just my guess. And bbreeeeed, not really sure what else he's gonna throw at Kevin. Does like to go for battle cruisers once in a while, but I think we would have seen a second gas already if that were the case. So maybe he'll just try for a similar opening as last game. And Kevin also not really spreading his overlords. He's got his initial one just chilling in the middle of the map. Once again, would have liked to see it on top of this thing for the vision. bbreeeeed patrolling his marines at the front to look for that overlord that isn't coming. However, if he had just moved out into the middle, he might have gotten this one. So maybe Kevin kind of foresaw that. 2 lings running across. He's gonna actually go for the fight. Loses one of them immediately. And very fast layer out of Kevin. I do believe this is gonna be a Muta rush. And we should be seeing gases 3 and 4 shortly. bbreeeeed has swapped over his factory onto that reactor. He has gotten a single Widow Mine on the defense, and now going to be getting a Widow Mine and a Hellion at the same time off of that reactor factory. And also getting some extra barracks back on the Zerg side. Kevin actually going for a Baneling nest. He did get gases 3 and 4. Don't typically need 4 gas if you're going for a Lingbane army. Then again, he is not mining off of those gases just yet either, so do wonder what this is going to be from Kevin. He did start +1 melee and carapace, so it does look like he's gonna focus on the lings for now. And ooh, okay, another Nidus network. So it looks like he's gonna try to Nidus once again, this time with a primarily Lingbane force, but not getting the Baneling speed. Instead, he's going for an infestation pit. Is he gonna rush up to a hive? This is quite interesting. But bbreeeeed is moving out now. Once again, just a handful of marines, Widow Mines, and Hellions. Gonna find that one Overlord, and Kevin's gonna morph that into an Overseer to buy time. Lings are going to run across to try to fight this army. Does lose a few of those to the Widow Mines, and then he's going to run past, but doesn't decide to go for the natural. Instead, he runs back through the middle of the map once again. Going to lose a few more of them on the retreat. So not really sure about that move by Kevin, but he has bought himself some time. And what does he have back at home? Not really too much. He's morphing some banelings, and those shots might be nice. He doesn't have speed on those banelings just yet. And once again, creep spread virtually non-existent. But Kevin dropping his Nidus network now, and bbreeeeed has no idea about this. He drops a scan, does not spot that Nidus network. He is going to hear the screech of that Nidus worm right now. And what is he going to do? He's just going to go for it. We might be seeing a strange base trade situation right now as we see some Lings and Banes come out of that Nidus. But is it going to be enough? I think not. There's just so much Terran here on Kevin's side of the map. And what does he have? He's desperately trying to morph some Banelings. He's lost 8 drones already. bbreeeeed also losing a lot of workers on his side of the map. So we are in a very strange situation. The Banelings are done and they are rolling in. Ooh, the control not the best out of bbreeeeed. And that's just so many Banelings. Looks like Kevin might hold, but once these Widow Mines come off cooldown, oh, huge shot there. bbreeeeed looks like he has cleaned up at home, down to only 14 workers. However, he really needs to make this push work. Can he do it? I think he has a big chance here. These Banelings trying to morph. It's all going to come down to the micro from both players. bbreeeeed has to be careful not to get hit by those Banes. He needs to try to hit those Banes with the Widow Mines. How is this gonna go? I don't know. Kevin desperately building some spine crawlers back in his main base. He has lost his natural, so as time goes on, it's gonna start favoring the Terran player. Kevin gonna start running in. Does eat one shot from the Widow Mines. He's gotta be so careful. Does have a few overseers, but this is so difficult to engage. He's trying to send single Zerglings to bait out those shots, but he doesn't really have time right now. He's slowly losing everything in his natural to these Marines. Forces a big stim out of bbreeeeed. That's nice, but now additional reinforcements have arrived. Things are looking so dire for Kevin. Despite his 23 workers, he's only down on 1 base. He's trying to get a second hatchery to improve his production, but he is stuck on 1 base. There's a huge Terran army outside. There's a lot of Widow Mines here, 9 of them to be exact, and he just has Lings and Banes. That's all Kevin has right now. He's trying to get a Spire? 1 base Spire? I don't think that's really gonna work. Not against this many Marines and Widow Mines, but we'll see if he even gets to produce any mutas. bbreeeeed perhaps respecting this a little too much. I think he could just run up the ramp and end the game, but he is being careful. Can't blame him for that. I'm gonna start inching up with some Widow Mines. Kevin's got to be feeling the pressure right now. He's trying to make 6 Mutalisks, but what are they going to be able to accomplish? I don't think a whole lot. bbreeeeed has been remaking his SCVs back at home. He is sending individual Zerglings to bait out those Widow Mine shots, and now bbreeeeed gonna start moving in. Stims a large chunk of his forces, sees those Mutalisks, and gonna run back down the ramp. Doesn't really want to fight at that ramp. Now the mutas are gonna fly across the map. Only 5 of them, so don't really foresee them doing too much damage. There's a Widow Mine here on the defense. Not the best placement, so might lose a few SCVs. And that's annoying, but again, the big story here is this Terran army. Gotta watch out for the Banelings though. Oh, no micro whatsoever out of bbreeeeed. Eats a ton of those shots, but he doesn't even care. Gonna barrel forward anyways. Still has a handful of Marines and Marauders. Gonna back up now actually to regroup. And there's still so many Widow Mines out here not even being utilized. These mutas continuing to be annoying, but that's all they're really gonna accomplish. And back at home, Kevin doesn't really have a whole lot left. 3 spine crawlers, 6 Zerglings, a single Mutalisk, not even any queens up here. bbreeeeed gonna run up the ramp once again, stemming his units, gonna take out these spine crawlers, and Kevin probably gonna have to tap out now. The mutas trying to come home. One of them got blown up by the Widow Mine. The remaining Mutalisks continue to try to do work at the Terran base, but now gonna fly home to defend, but not really gonna be able to find a lot of damage. Another nice Widow Mine shot goes off on those Zerglings. And here come the Mutalisks. Are they gonna be able to find any damage? I don't think so. bbreeeeed getting really aggressive with those Widow Mines. Loses a few of them right in the face of that Overseer. There's just not enough Zerg here to contest with this Bio Mine army. And they are stemmed in the red, so there's a chance that Kevin stabilizes from this point. And he pulls the drones, gonna lose a few of the drones, but ends up actually holding pretty well. That Widow Mine does some friendly fire to the Marauder. And somehow things have kind of slowed down. There's not much Terran left over here, just 5 Widow Mines. And Kevin remaking his mutas, gonna fly across once again with a few of them. bbreeeeed, he has taken some significant worker damage, but he's sitting on 3 command centers. The mules themselves are gonna be able to get him so much money, as we can see, despite the worker deficit. Pretty significant lead in terms of income for the Terran. Now bbreeeeed gonna be backing up, going home with most of his army. He does leave 1 Widow Mine here in the Zerg Natural. And Kevin, 4 mutas, 3 more in production. Is he going to be able to find any damage? There is a missile turret in each of these mineral lines, so probably not going to be able to get too much done there. And yeah, he's flying around trying to find whatever he can, but there's not really too many openings, especially with this army present. Kevin gonna have to fly back home. Still not trying to reclaim that natural base. Main base almost mined out. Only a single mineral field remaining with 55 minerals left on it. And Kevin gonna be going for the long distance mining. Meanwhile, bbreeeeed has droned back up, or SCV'd back up rather, to a nice healthy 28 on 3 bases. He's got a massive supply lead, and he's going to be moving out once again, and this should be the killing blow, shouldn't it? Few Mute is not really going to be able to defend against this, and what else does Kevin have back at home? Nothing. No army units whatsoever. All he has are these mutas and a dream, but that's not going to be enough. The Marines have arrived, and GG gets called. bbreeeeed is going to be able to take game number 2. Alright, we are loaded into the third and final game in this series. We are all tied up, 1 apiece, between the blue Zerg kevinnleeeeee and the red Terran bbreeeeed. So I am noticing a trend. The player who switches to red comes back to win. Let's see if that continues for bbreeeeed. So he did start off the day playing in teal, switched to red in the second game, won the second game of course, and will he be able to win the third game as well? Same thing happened yesterday, but on the other side, Kevin switched to the red and was able to take games 2 and 3. So we'll see if the red continues to win games. bbreeeeed gonna be going for 2 barracks, getting a second gas pretty quickly. Not really sure what this means. Is he gonna go for mass reapers to start things off? Not really sure why you would get 2 barracks, but he does start things off with a reactor, not even getting a marine or anything. And on the Zerg side, pretty standard with the fast expand. Overlord in this game gonna be flying to the back of the natural, it looks like. Most of the time you would see it over here, but both locations are valid. Behind this, bbreeeeed going for a factory, so is this some kind of 2-1-1 build? 2-1-1, of course, referring to the 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and usually Terrans would go for 2 medevacs in that case. Go for a double drop with 16 Marines. Has kind of fallen out of style recently, but still a pretty strong strategy. We do see the factory has completed, and what's going to be the follow-up? Are we going to see a starport here? Yes. We do. So it is a 2-1-1. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a modification. Not going to be going for pure Marines. He is going to swap that factory onto the reactor. Start getting a Widow Mine, as well as a tech lab on the barracks. And over on the Zerg side, once again, going for a fast layer. Going for gases 3 and 4. And is this going to be mutas this time? In the last game, Kevin did something similar, but went for Banelings and tried to go for a Nidus, which ultimately did not pay off. Looks like he's going for a Roach Warren once again, also walling off the front of his ramp. Gonna run a couple Zerglings into Scout. They do get picked off by the Terran army, leaving the base. And bbreeeeed doesn't look like he has any plans to expand, so going for a bit of a one base all in almost. He's going to need to find some good damage, but this attack hits very early. And is Kevin going to be prepared for this? He's trying to throw up 2 spine crawlers. They are only just starting. 7 roaches also on the way. And bbreeeeed once again has a big window of opportunity, but he needs to go. He needs to go now. He is kind of waiting for his upgrades, waiting for more reinforcements. Can't really blame him. But he is allowing Kevin to establish his defenses, and now that these spine crawlers are done, these roaches have popped, it's going to be very difficult to move up this ramp. But of course, bbreeeeed can go for a drop, can lift up 8 of these Marines, fly into the main base of the Zerg, and maybe he can find some damage that way. But I don't think he'll be able to get anything done going up this natural ramp. There's just too much set up here. 2 spine crawlers, bunch of Ravagers being morphed as well. And bbreeeeed gonna be able to, Kevin gonna be able to shoot Biles down onto that Widow Mine, and bbreeeeed does lift off. He flies into the main, but Kevin does spot that, relocates his Roach Ravager to repel that. It's a nice reaction out of Kevin. Denying that drop, bbreeeeed's gonna fly back out, drop on the low ground, and settle for an Overlord. And recognizing that probably not going to be able to find too much damage with this attack, bbreeeeed is going for his natural expansion, going to try to transition out of this. We do see he is a little bit behind in terms of workers. Now Kevin going for the Hydralisk Den once again, and most likely going to be going for a Lurker Den right behind this. Will we be seeing that go down? Also, Kevin's drone count once again leaves a lot to be desired. Natural base only with 6 drones on the minerals. Main base pretty well saturated, 15 out of 16. And bbreeeeed still posturing up outside Kevin's base. Needs to be careful. Those Biles actually landing on the medevacs. That's never supposed to happen. bbreeeeed needs to be careful. And likewise, Kevin needs to be careful of these Widow Mines. Gonna start filing those down with the Ravagers. It's a nice play out of Kevin. Liberator has arrived as well, setting up its liberation zone here. Gonna make life very annoying for Kevin, but he does have a slight angle here. Gonna cast some more corrosive biles to pick off yet another Widow Mine. bbreeeeed could actually try to bait the army out. Tank has shown up, and ooh, the tank is a big deal in this composition. Need to protect that tank. Does lose it. Is that going to be enough for bbreeeeed though? Nice Widow Mine shot there. Going to force Kevin back home. And bbreeeeed, does he want to continue moving up that ramp? I think no. Wisely backs up. Gonna heal up his bio. Maybe wait for another siege tank. But this is a lot of good work being done by these units. He's keeping Kevin locked down on 2 bases. Meanwhile, bbreeeeed trying to establish his natural base. Continuing to produce units, rally them across the map. And once these 2 siege tanks get set up, it's going to be super difficult for Kevin to break out. He is going for that lurker den, but without the hive upgrades, they're not really going to be that good against this composition. Siege tanks, of course, outrange them quite significantly. And now, bbreeeeed, he has sieged up his 2 tanks. He moves his Widow Mines forward just a little bit. And he's just going to start pressuring, moving his tanks further up. This is going to make life so difficult for the Zerg player. This wall actually working against Kevin right now, because if he wants to move out this ramp, he's going to have to funnel through this very tiny choke point. Meanwhile, this Roach Warren in danger of being taken out, and looks like it is going to get taken out. So no more roaches for a while out of Kevin. Not sure if he even wanted to make any more. And that might actually help him to clear up this opening just a little bit more. Lurkers now are on the field, 3 of them to be exact. bbreeeeed, drop a scan, gonna siege these tanks in a very abusive location here. Is in range of this one evolution chamber. But actually Kevin gonna be able to find a nice angle here, drop some biles down, doesn't quite get that second tank over there. Gonna eat a lot of tank shots, and things are getting very dire for our Zerg player. bbreeeeed playing this very carefully and meticulously, inching up his units. He has a Liberator sieged, making it very difficult for Kevin to engage. Kevin down about 20 supply right now, and he just can't find an angle to break out of this location. He's trying to carefully shoot those vials down, misses with that actually. Bit of a mistake there. And I wonder if Kevin has his flyer helper icon. That of course is this little indicator of where on the ground the flying unit is located, and Kevin kind of miscontrolling his units, letting a few of them run forward and eat a lot of tank shots, and bbreeeeed just playing so carefully, slowly sieging his tanks, moving up the Liberator, and Kevin not really sure what to do. He's trying to morph some more lurkers, but he's still only on layer tech. So they don't have the extra range, they don't have the fast burrow. See just this one tank in range of the lurker. Does bbreeeeed, so he is going to lose that. Bit of a mistake there. And really the only other advantage that Kevin has is his 1-1 upgrades on his ranged units. That's gonna help, but I don't think that's gonna make the difference. Not with this massive Terran army outside his base. And bbreeeeed content with just securing this position. Gonna go for the 3rd base back at home. He is just chilling out here, doesn't really want to force the issue or anything. And he knows that as long as he keeps the Zerg on 2 bases, while he can mine and establish his economy back at home, he's going to be just fine. So it's going to be up to Kevin to come up with something, anything to deal with this containment. But I don't think there's an answer, not on layer tech at least. Kevin, he's had enough. He's moving up with everything, but is it gonna be enough? I don't think so. eating some massive tank shots and actually gonna force bbreeeeed to move back just a little bit. I don't think he really needed to do that, but respecting Kevin, respecting the composition of the lurkers, and I don't mind that. I do think it could have held that location. bbreeeeed gonna back up just a little bit, and now Kevin taking the opportunity to try to move out a little bit, but thinks twice, backs up once again, and bbreeeeed using this to funnel forward, and GG gets called. bbreeeeed gonna take the series 2-1, playing as the red.